Hello again. We're super excited to have you here today to listen to our Fly podcast, Fulfill Life Yourself. I'm Mikkel Wilcox.
And I'm Lamont Wilcox, her dad, and we help people to use the knowledge about their brain and how to get their conscious mind and its understanding of how it functions to help them change their brain so that they can be freed from their mental debilitating patterns that we tend to have, all of us have, that keep us from having the life we want and living the way that we really truly want to live.
And yesterday we had an awesome experience, almost like every day, where we go through these breakthroughs in our head. We use the model, the NAP model, to work through these processes in the ways that we were thinking that are holding us back. And yesterday we had an awesome experience talking about hope, right? Have you ever been in that moment where you just don't feel like hopeful about whatever it is you're trying to do, or your life, or even just your mood or your feeling, and you just feel kind of in that stuck place of, I don't want to keep trying to push through this because it's not working, whatever my strategy is or whatever I'm trying to do, I'm not able to get myself out of this, and you just kind of lose hope, you kind of give up.
And there's really nothing more powerful than having a model that you can turn to when you're struggling with that hope, when you're struggling to see things that will benefit you or that will help or that work to get you what you want. And having something that you can turn to and a step-by-step process that you just go to. You can just go to that process. And not just one process, but multiple options of processes that this model uses to help us to shift and to change our perspective in such a way that changes the chemical reaction in our brain and changes the way we feel in the moment. Mm-hmm. And gets us to a different place where that hope can come back and that hope can start to drive us to take action and to do things that lead to more of what we really want.
So why is it in that moment that all of a sudden you have that feeling of hopelessness? Why is it that you weren't able to get yourself out of that? And I mean, even when we look back after that moment, we're like, oh, well, why was I stuck in that, right? And a lot of the times it's because we don't have clarity around what it is that we want, around what it is that we're doing. I mean, have you ever gotten stuck in that moment where all of a sudden you're like, what am I doing right now? And then you don't have a purpose. And how does that feel when you don't have a purpose for what you're doing? All of a sudden you feel like, I just wasted all my time. What am I doing? What's going on? You kind of feel stuck or lost because you lost that sight of what it is that you truly wanted.
And you're like trying different things, and you just feel stuck. Like it's just not going anywhere, right? And really, when it comes down to it, what we're realizing more and more and what the model shows is that your brain needs to see. It needs to see. It has to have clarity. And the more clarity it has, the more power it has to help you get to what you want. And when you don't have clarity, it holds back and it pushes back and it creates resistance, which in the brain is also inflammation, which slows down the process and makes it even more and more difficult.
Because without clarity, if you don't know what the purpose is of what you're doing and why you're there, then what is going to happen? You're going to be reactive to whatever it is that's going on around you. You're going to be reactive to your environment. And like we always say, how does that feel when you're just being reactive to your environment day after day, just doing whatever you feel like or doing whatever's coming at you and not taking that control? How does that feel in your life?
And so the question is, what kind of things can we do to get clarity? What can we do to make it so we have clarity? What are some things we can do on a regular basis that keep us getting more and more clarity? Because there's this excitement that comes with it when you feel that clarity, when you suddenly have the aha moment, when things come together and you're like, oh man, I get it now. And once you get it, your brain's like, let's go, let's do it. If you've ever been, in this place where you just don't have motivation, everything, clarity is the key, getting clarity. So how do we do that? Well, the model has a lot of different ways to do that. And we're just going to cover a couple of them right now, but knowing that there's so much more here that you can gain from and that you can get. But there are a few things that we want to share right now in the little time that we have of how to get that clarity.
So how is it? How do we get that clarity? First off, we need to control our focus. Being able to control our focus makes it so that we focus on getting clarity. Because if you're in that moment just being reactive to whatever it is around you, you're not focused on that clarity. You're not focused on your purpose. And so how is it that we can control our focus? Through questions.
And questions really get us to discover and see what pieces of the puzzle that we don't have clarity on. Now, we can use questions, and sometimes it's really tough to use the questions. And the model is designed to help us come up with really effective questions. The other way is we can use our physiology. We can use our physiology to get us in a place where the questions will be effective. And using our physiology to take a deep breath, to stop for a moment and just say, okay, I can, time is not pressing me. I am in control. And it's going to be more effective to stop right now for a moment and take a minute and just think and ponder and, taking a deep breath to help you slow down. Maybe take 3 or 4 nice, slow, deep breaths and to take over a part of your autonomic nervous system. Because the reason that you're frustrated and upset and you're not moving forward is because your autonomic nervous system is kicked in and it's taken over. And you're starting to feel maybe frustrated or whatever. So you stop and take a deep breath. And part of your autonomic system, which is your breathing, you take over. And therefore your conscious mind starts to take over more of your automated processes. And then suddenly you become more capable to get that clarity. And you start to pose questions that really start to help you understand. And you use the model and how we create questions in that model to help you do that.
And even with just those 2 simple steps, those 2 simple concepts or ideas of how you'd be able to stop yourself from going back to that old way of thinking, those old patterns, how would that feel if you did that every time? If every time when you felt that hopelessness creeping in, you stopped it and you asked yourself a question, and then you realized and you breathed, and you were able to bring yourself back to that home of control. And being able to then go forward with your life in taking control of how you're feeling, what mood you're in, what's going to happen. Your perception of your environment, and being able to then move forward in the direction that you want. Remembering that the clarity can really help you to achieve your goals.
Because imagine a life of always having clarity about the purpose of everything that you do all day, every day, and how it matches up with all your desires and the things you truly want to have. Imagine that.
Even just asking the question before you do anything, if you're going to an event, a social thing, whatever it is, to stop and ask yourself, what is the purpose of this? Every meeting, how powerful is that one question of being able to then start whatever it is you're about to do with that purpose in mind? Because if not, what's going to happen? You don't know, right?
You're going to get a bunch of different outcomes that really aren't necessarily a part of your of your plan, of what you want. And it's merely just gaining clarity. So we've actually given you 3 things there that you can do. Using physiology, taking a deep breath, stopping, posing questions, and giving you an actual question of what is the purpose? What is it I truly want? And of course, we go a lot deeper into this with the model, and with a deeper understanding of the model, this makes so much more sense. So we hope to see it at an event, or visit our webpage, or come and see us in some of the things that we're doing digitally and on our webpage, and subscribe if you haven't yet.
So if you really feel like this video kind of motivated you to think in a different way and maybe even change your mind about some things, stop and take an action right now. Whether it's one of those things that he mentioned, or just being able to stop yourself and take that deep breath, or to think of what your purpose really is. So thank you for watching, and we hope that you take action. Have a good one.
All right.